If you've been paying close attention to what's been happening on Daystar television network lately, then you've probably noticed something that doesn't quite add up. One familiar face is suddenly missing, and not just for a day or two. Doug Weiss has been completely absent from every single program for close to 2 weeks now. No appearances, no quick segments, nothing. It's like he just disappeared off the screen overnight. And naturally, that raises a big question. What exactly is going on behind the scenes? If you value truth, justice and equity, support this channel by hitting the subscribe button. Also like and share. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Instead of addressing the absence directly or bringing in fresh content, the network leaned on a rerun, an old Table Talk episode featuring Joni Lamb. And let's be honest for a second, that wasn't random. That move tells you a lot. Because the reality is, that platform has always revolved around her presence. Without her, it just doesn't hit the same. The energy changes, the flow feels off, and viewers can tell. Even when Doug Weiss was still showing up, many people weren't fully buying into it. Audience feedback made that pretty clear over time. So what did the network do? They went back into the archives and pulled something familiar, something they knew people would recognize and feel comfortable watching. That's not just about filling airtime. That's about trying to stabilize the audience while something bigger is quietly unfolding in the background. Now, before we go deeper into all of that, there's another layer to this story that really needs attention. A lot of you already saw the discussion about Joshua Brown and his trip to India. According to Doug Weiss, this wasn't just any trip. He presented it as something major, claiming Joshua traveled to preach to tens of thousands of people. Not a small gathering. Not a local event. We're talking about crowds in the tens of thousands. And beyond that, the narrative painted Joshua as someone who regularly preaches across different nations. Now pause for a moment and really think about that. Because once you start looking closer, things begin to shift. Joshua Brown eventually spoke about the trip himself. Same platform, same audience, but noticeably, Doug Weiss wasn't there this time. And that alone changed the tone completely. The explanation felt different. Less dramatic. More grounded. And whether you agree or not, it raises an important observation. When Doug Weiss is present, the story tends to come out one way. When he's not, a different version starts to emerge. That contrast is hard to ignore. Now before breaking down exactly what Joshua said about India, there's something else that needs to be pointed out. Across multiple Daystar programs right now, Doug Weiss is nowhere to be found. Not on Table Talk, not on Ministry Now, not on special broadcasts. Not even in short clips or highlights. It's a full absence across the board. And when you see that kind of consistent disappearance, it's no longer a coincidence. It's a pattern. Take Table Talk for example. That show has always been built around Joni Lamb's personality. Her tone, her leadership, her presence at the center of the conversation. Without her, the dynamic shifts. It feels incomplete. And that's exactly why the network went back and aired a previous episode instead of trying to push forward with something new. They needed something familiar to hold the audience's attention while whatever is happening behind the scenes remains unresolved. And yes, once again, Doug Weiss is not there. Not recently, not at all. Now look at Ministry Now, and this is where things take another turn. Roughly 10 days ago, maybe a little more, Doug Weiss sat alongside Joshua Brown and helped present that India narrative, the one about preaching to massive crowds. But shortly after that, Joshua appeared again, this time without Weiss, and what he shared didn't quite match the earlier version. That shift speaks volumes. Because when two different versions of the same story come out depending on who's present, it naturally raises questions about influence and framing. At the same time, Joshua Brown has been under pressure to clear his name from previous controversies. including serious allegations tied to the baby lamb situation. So everything he does publicly right now carries weight. Every appearance, every statement, it's all part of rebuilding credibility. And in the middle of that, viewers also noticed something else. His bold move to start praying over and anointing people live on air. That's not something you typically see done with that level of authority on that platform. It stood out. And it left people asking, where did that confidence come from, and why now? Moving on to other parts of the network, the pattern stays the same. Live events. No Doug Weiss. Highlight clips. Nothing. YouTube exclusives. Still nothing. Across every major outlet connected to Daystar, his presence has completely vanished. And here's the bigger issue. This is happening at a time when the network has already been dealing with declining support. Longtime partners and viewers have reportedly been pulling back, and many believe his presence contributed to that shift. Whether that's fully accurate or not, perception alone can have a powerful impact. There's also been discussion around leadership decisions, like the situation involving Jonathan Lamb and Susie. Reports suggest that attempts were made to bring Jonathan back without his wife, which only added to the sense of internal instability. Whether intentional or not, moves like that tend to create more questions than answers. Now, back to the India trip, because this is where everything really connects. When Joshua Brown described his experience, the focus wasn't on preaching large crusades. Instead, he talked about witnessing what was already happening. Massive gatherings, yes, but led by others. He spoke about observing, participating, and even helping serve meals to thousands of people. He described the scale of the event, the hunger of the crowd, and the work being done, but not from the position of the main speaker. And that's a key difference. Because if someone had truly gone to preach to tens of thousands, you would expect to see clear footage of that. Sermons, altar calls, direct engagement with the crowd, those moments don't stay hidden. They're usually front and center. But what was shown instead? Carefully edited clips. Highlight moments. Polished content designed to tell a specific story. That's where critics stepped in. Some publicly questioned the narrative, asking for proof, actual footage of Joshua preaching, not just attending. And when that proof didn't surface, the gap between the original claim and the visible evidence became harder to ignore. At that point, the story shifted from being about a trip to being about credibility. And now here we are. Doug Weiss is gone from the screen. Joshua Brown and his wife are more visible. The network is leaning on reruns and selective content. And no one has stepped forward to clearly explain what's happening. That silence is what keeps the conversation alive. Because when everything is functioning normally, explanations come easily. But when things are unclear, when key figures disappear without a word, and when narratives start to conflict, that's when people start connecting dots. Right now, it feels like something is being worked out behind closed doors. Maybe a disagreement. Maybe a restructuring. Maybe something else entirely. But whatever it is, it hasn't been made public yet. And until it is, the questions will keep coming. So what do you think is really happening inside Daystar right now?